This is Jim Cornette. You're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com, and you made the right choice.
All right, and we're back, and we are joined by one half of the Midnight Express, Dennis Condrey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Let everybody know that you're going to be appearing for Southern Championship Wrestling. For more information, you can visit SouthernChampionshipWrestling.com. The big show March Madness this Saturday at the Mulberry Recreational Center in Lenoir, North Carolina.
Yes, that's going to be a big night. Like I said, I live in Charlotte, so it's just right up the road from me. It's actually a great card. You've got Dusty Rhodes, Jerry Lawler, beautiful Bobby, and myself. We're looking to have a great time. We're wrestling Barbarian and the Warlords, which are two big behemoths of guys. You know, we're going to have to get them down on the mat and wear them down a little bit, or we don't stand much of a chance on this one.
Yeah, that's the Powers of Pain. Is this the first time you guys have ever wrestled them?
It is, and like I say, Bobby and I both have a pretty good wrestling background, so we'll have to get one of them down and just work them over. And, you know, you can't stand toe-to-toe with them. They're too big. They're like 6'7", and 320, you know, so we got to get one of them down and just work on him, not let him up.
Yeah. I haven't seen the Warlord wrestle much.
The Warlord is in heavy training. I don't know if you've seen him lately or anything. I saw him in Fort Lauderdale, I guess about 6 months ago. This is the biggest guy I think I've ever seen. I mean, he's thick. He's so thick, and the thing about him, though, you can blow him up real quick. You know, if you get him to crisscrossing or running a little bit, you just about own him. So if he don't beat you real quick, then you got a chance, because if it takes a while, you're right in there with him.
Mm-hmm. We also have a caller here, Katie. Do you have a question for Dennis?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to ask Dennis about his involvement in that scaffold match at Starrcade with the Road Warriors. I had been watching it. I have the Road Warriors DVD, and I was just watching it, and they had said that scaffold was not put together properly, and I was just wondering, at what point did you think, oh my God, I'm going to die? Because it just, you could see it was shaking, and parts of it were falling off, and it just looked like it was like a harrowing match.
Katie, to be honest with you, I'm trying to forget that night, but since you brought it up again, I will tell you a few things, and you're correct. The scaffold match was really, really, it was not a scary match per se, but, you know, when you get up there with those two big muscle heads, you know, the Road Warriors, you don't know what might happen up there. And the scaffold was leaning back and forth. And the thing about it, Katie, was that was one of the first ones we had, and so the crew didn't know how to put the scaffold up to start with. So they worked on it all day long in Atlanta, and Bobby and I went out and checked it out early that afternoon. And we had told Jim Crockett, we said, you know, this right here is not good. This thing is swaying back and forth and everything. So he had another crew come in, and they tied it down pretty good. But you're correct. It was swaying pretty good. It was. You know, looking across at those two guys, the Road Warriors, just in the ring is bad enough. But when you get like 40 or 50 feet up in the air and look at them, it's an entirely different ballgame.
You just did another scaffold match not too long ago, didn't you?
We did do another one, actually in Lenoir, where we're going this weekend. We had one with the Rock and Roll, which wasn't quite as high. Right. And, you know, those guys are not quite as big as the Road Warriors. So right. This one was actually fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Cool. What was the fall like?
The fall is a real, Bobby and Jimmy both had to go straight to the hospital. Jimmy had knee surgery when he, you know, dropped, and Big Bubba was, I understand, was supposed to try to catch him or try to break his fall some kind of way, but if you get somebody like Jim Cornette, weighs 250, falling that far, you can't catch him. I don't care, you know, Big Bubba, and I told Big Bubba, I said, you can't catch him, man, he'll break your back. You know, so sure enough, he landed on his knee wrong, and he went to the hospital, and so did Bobby. So I was on my own there for a while. I was like 6 weeks as a single.
Yeah, another question, Katie?
Oh, God, I had a question, and I just forgot it, but...
well, I just want to bring up everybody talks about your matches with the Rock and Roll Express, but is there any tag teams that you guys used to work with that you think are overlooked?
I do. I really like the tag team of the Armstrong, Brad Armstrong and Scott, or, you know, any combination of the Armstrong brothers. There's about 4 or 5 of them. And then you had Tim Horner and Brad Armstrong. That's the Lightning Express.
Yeah.
You know, and we we enjoyed working with the Dudleys. We've been working around with those guys.
Really?
Around Florida. Yeah. We really enjoyed that. Then you got the Fantastics. You know, Bobby Thornton and Tommy Rogers. They were a great team. I think they were overlooked a little bit. Their timing was a little messed up because the Rock and Roll actually beat them to us. You know, so
yes,
it was one of those deals. There was some great tag teams out there, though. It really is, and it still is today.
Is there any team that you'd like to work with that you haven't?
Yes. You know, a guy asked us that other day. We were doing a shoot interview in Philadelphia, and a guy asked us that, and I always wanted to work with Marty Jannetty and Shawn.
Oh, the Rockers.
Yeah, the Midnight Rockers, because they got half of our name and half of the Rock and Roll's name.
Right.
So, you know, so I really, and I made it very public years ago, and I'm still making it public today, because Bobby and I and Jimmy are back on the road again on the weekends. And, you know, I wouldn't mind still doing that.
They were Marty was just on Raw this week. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, that was an unpleasant thing he had to do, wasn't it?
Yeah. He didn't go through with it, but they made it, yeah.
Well, it very easily could have happened, though, you know.
Right.
Because Marty is, you know, he's hard to explain. He's out there, man. He's a free spirit. You know, he don't like anybody to tell him what to do or anything. So, you know, and Shawn Michaels is right the opposite. So, you know, you're dealing with one loose cannon right there. So you don't ever know what he might do.
Have they ever like contacted you saying like they were big fans of you guys and say, you know, it's pretty obvious that they took the name Midnight Rockers because they had to be big fans of rock and roll and Midnight Express?
Well, you know, Sean's book, he wrote about me, actually, and he wrote a couple of paragraphs, and I want to say in his book it's on page 68 or 69, where he wrote some stuff about me that was very nice. I appreciate that. When he was first starting, we were about the only ones that gave him a shot. In fact, I did a little work with him in the dressing rooms because, you know, he had that little flair to him, and he had charisma. Even way back then, you could tell he had something going for him. And he did put some good stuff in his book about me, and like I say, I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah. What's some of your favorite, like, double team maneuvers?
We do a thing called the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And what I used to do is once we get a guy to where we think we can pin him, I'll go ahead and put him on my shoulder and give him a power slam. And when I give him the power slam, I'll go ahead and drive my shoulder into his stomach, and that'll keep him right there for a minute. And then Bobby climbs the top rope, and I actually go over and throw Bobby off the top rope onto him.
Yeah.
And that's called the rocket launcher. Jim Cornette named that the rocket launcher years ago, and we're still doing that today. You know.
Did you remember your question, Katie?
Yes. I was just wondering, and I'm all about the Road Warriors here, but anyway, I was just wondering, since you had such, a big feud with the Road Warriors, what was your reaction when you had heard about Hawk passing away? About, I think, 3 years ago, I believe?
Yes, you know, we did have a little feud going with the Road Warriors. As a matter of fact, not blowing our horns, but we're one of the very few tag teams that ever pinned the Road Warriors. Me and Bob and pinned those guys, and, you know, it was the little thing we had going with those guys was something that was an accident that, like I say, they wasn't supposed to be on the scaffold match with us. It was supposed to be in the Rock and Roll Express. And Ricky and Robert One had gotten hurt, so right at the last moment, or either they chickened out, I don't know what the deal was there, but anyway, they got on the back burner for a minute, and they threw the Road Warriors up there, but it was supposed to be us and the Rock and Roll Express on the scaffold.
You think that would have made for a better match, or?
I think it would have been more exciting because those guys are so big, like I say, you know, when you get up there that high, you're limited to what you can do. You know, especially with those, you know, them guys were pretty strong, you know, they were benching 600-700 pounds, you know, and everything, and me and Bobby had to watch what we was doing real carefully, where if we'd have been with Ricky and Robert, you know, we could have done a little bit more exciting stuff. The match with the Road Warriors actually was kind of, it wasn't too exciting, actually, but, you know, I just feel like to answer your question, it would have been a better match. Not taking anything away from the Road Warriors, but like I say, they're limited to what they can do up there that high.
Who are some of your least favorite guys to tag teams to work with?
I don't know if I have any or not, because the thing about it is, every time Bobby and I went to the ring, we tried to make a match with whomever it was. We didn't really care who it was, because we were making, some big bucks. And when you pay somebody the kind of money that we were making, you have to make tag teams overnight. In other words, some of the tag teams we worked with, we really had to go out of our way to actually make them look as good as they did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just stating a fact here, and I'm sure that some of them know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I don't really, I didn't dislike any of them, actually. I really didn't.
Did you take pride in that, if, you had a good match with somebody that maybe some people wouldn't think you'd be able to have a good match with?
Well, that's what we stressed the most. Bobby and I would sit down, and we knew that some of the guys they put us with, that we weren't supposed to have a good match. That's when we worked our hardest. Because, see, you're only as good as the team you get in the ring with. If they're the crap, then you're going to be crappy. So we tried to make everybody, look as good as they could. And sometimes that was hard, believe me. But, we just took pride in that. And like I say, the money we was making, guys, we had to have good matches. A couple of bad matches, and, something else might have happened.
Somebody in our chat room here, Jobber, wants to know if you had any funny stories about Jim Cornette.
Oh, God, where do you want to start, man?
Right.
I don't know. I talked to Corny today, as a matter of fact, for about an hour. Once he gets to rolling, you might as well just prop your feet up, so you don't be so loud. But there is one funny one. We were in, I want to say it was, I think it was Louisiana. I forget the name of the town. It was one of those smaller towns in the Mid-South for Bill Watts. And we came out one night, and a bunch of fans were following us. And boy, we had the heat on us. It was really bad. And this one guy pulled up beside of us in his car. And he's, Jimmy's driving, and I'm sitting on the passenger side, Bobby's in the back. So the guy starts cussing me and my mother and my sisters and brothers. And so naturally, we're trying to get out of the parking area, and we're going like 2 or 3 miles an hour. So I just flung the door open, and I walked over. And when he saw me coming, he started rolling his window up. It was one of those automatic windows, power window. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought to myself, I think I can get a punch in there real quick before that window gets all the way up. And sure enough, I punched him right in his nose, but the window come up and caught my arm in the car, and he takes off, and he's trying to drag me. And so Jimmy has to floorboard it and get down there in front of everybody and cut this guy off, or he's going to drag me to death, because my arm is still in the window.
Right.
So we laugh about that. We laugh about that every time we get a chance. Like I say, we're talking about it just today, as a matter of fact.
You were laughing about it at the time.
Yeah. No, it wasn't funny at all, but my whole stuff flashed right in front of my eyes, man.
Right.
But we're talking about it just today, as a matter of fact. Me and Corny speak about it every day, and we've got a big pay-per-view coming up on Sunday after the Lenore show on March the 4th. We got a pay-per-view in Orlando with me, Bobby, and Jimmy. So we was talking about that today, and then sure enough, that little deal popped up, and we always get a good laugh out of that. But if Jimmy hadn't cut that guy off in the car, he would have drugged me. It would have been a big one.
Yeah. Is that the Legends pay-per-view?
Oh, yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who your opponents are going to be?
Yes, it's going to be 3 of the Armstrongs, and to be honest with you, I don't know which 3 it is. I think it's about 4 or 5 of them, but it's 3. I think it's Bob, if I'm not mistaken, Bob, Brad, and Scotty, if I'm not mistaken.
Fully Bob.
Yeah, and they're managed by Bobby Heenan, and it will be me, Bobby, and Stan, and with Jim Cornette in the corner, and I understand it's already sold out.
What are you going to say, Andrew?
I was just going to say, we got a question from the message board, WWEJunkies.com. He wants to know what the Loverboy name's all about. Well,
most of the time, and I hear some of these guys, they come up with these names and everything. I was one of the guys that, and I'm not bragging or anything, but I didn't hang that name on myself. Bobby and I, we had a little following, all over the country, and these girls got together in Philly and Baltimore, New York, and all these towns up north, and they would go to, they were, kind of rich little girls, and they were, sort of following us to all the towns. And so we look outside, way up in the balcony one day, and I think it was Baltimore, it might have been Philly, but I think it was Baltimore, and there are these signs that says, Beautiful Bobby and Loverboy Dennis. And I said, Bobby, where did they get that stuff from? And it sort of stuck. It was all over, it was just, the camera got on those signs and everything, and it just sort of stuck to us.
Yeah.
But there were signs all over the building and all the rest of the towns after that. So we just ran with it. You know, they gave it to us, so we went with it.
Yeah. Do you think Cornette added a lot to the tag team? You know, with his promos?
Yes, he's you'd have to really know Jimmy to really. Jimmy was a photographer. I saw Jimmy at ringside in Louisville, Kentucky, when I was working for Jerry Jarrett for the Nashville area. Mm-hmm. And I saw Corny, and I said, you know, just talking to him, he used to take pictures of me and everything, and he would come over to me and, you know, present them to me afterwards. And I could tell that then because he'd get on these talking little things, and you couldn't interrupt him. And I thought, man, there's got to be something this guy right here can do in the business. I mean, he's got a gift of gab, and, you know, he's a bright guy and everything. So sure enough, I made a manager out of him. I said, well, you know, I'm going to get me and Beautiful Bobby. And at that time, had gotten a call from Bill Watts in Mid-South, you know, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas. And he said, Dennis, do you all have a manager? I said, as a matter of fact, yes, we do. At the time, we did not. So I talked to Corny about it. He said, man, I manage you and Bobby Eaton. I said, yeah. He said, yes. And everything else just history. I mean, it just fell right into place.
Yeah, we just had him on last week, couple of Bill Watts.
He told me he did.
Cool.
Yeah, he was talking about it today. He said he either was going to do one for you or had done one. He said so much today, I couldn't really tell you everything he said.
What was he like to work with?
He was great. He was actually really good. And the thing about this guy is he eats it, sleeps it, dreams it. I mean, he gives his heart and soul to the business. That's when something messes up, he takes it, you know, to heart. And he gets a lot of heat on him with some guys, but he's just a perfectionist, and that's what we needed at the time. And it was just a good mix for all of us. I think we were all very lucky to get together.
Mm-hmm. When you work now, like on the indies and stuff, do you guys wrestle the baby faces, or do you guys wrestle as heels?
You know, it's funny. We go out as heels out of the dressing rooms, but the people make us baby faces just right there. I mean, they just explode when we come out. Yeah. I don't know if they're happy to see us back together. I don't know what the deal is, but they just love us all over. And I don't see how all the stuff we've done, you know, over the years. There's a new breed of fan today, though. They like the heels, especially, you know, they appreciate, I think, what we're actually doing.
Right.
And I appreciate them. I really do. I'm getting now to where back in the day, you know, you couldn't talk to me. I didn't sign any autographs. You couldn't get in my space. You know, I didn't like. But now I love it. I go out and we sell pictures, and you know, we talk with the fans, meet with them, have meet and greets, have autograph sessions. We're just having a great time, to be honest with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Was that weird? Getting into that, you know, maybe before you were used to, you know, telling the guys, you know, that you wouldn't do the autographs, you wouldn't talk to them about, you know, like stuff about in the business, to being where the business is more open.
Well, right, and see, back then, you know, and there's been a lot of times I've been in bar fights, you know, trying to protect the business, right. Where promoters back then, guys, if you got, you know, beat up in a bar fight, they would fire you. Uh-huh. They made it very clear, Dennis. Now, I know you and Bobby go out and, you know, y'all go to the bars and stuff. And I said, yeah, you're right. And they said, well, we want to let you know that if y'all get in a fight in the bar, which you will, because they hate you, then, you know, whatever the cost was, we had to win that fight, or we were fired, and we knew that. And so, you know, that was back in the day when we actually got a lot of heat. We knew how to get heat, and now, you know, not knocking the guys today, they're great athletes. Don't get me wrong whatsoever. Mm-hmm. They're great athletes. But there's a picture to be told. You know, there's a story to be told in a match. You know, and that's where you get your heat and everything. And I don't know if these guys don't know how to do it or don't want to do it, but there's a story to be told in each and every match during the match.
Mm-hmm. Which crowd would be easier to wrestle in front of?
Philadelphia. You mean what town?
Yeah.
Philadelphia is, I love Philly. I just fell in love with, you know, those guys up there, Ring of Honor, where Corny's up there as the commissioner. Mm-hmm. They're just, I'm telling you, but they're in good shape for years to come as far as wrestling and fans. Their fan base is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. We went out up there one night thinking that they was going to, you know, throw beer all over us and cut us and scratch us. And, you know, we've been cut with knives before and all that stuff. But the building came down when we walked out. I mean, they went nuts. And he made cold chills on. I'm getting cold chills again sitting here talking about it. But it's just crazy. This business, it's just crazy. We're just having a great time now. See, we don't have to worry about doing it for a living anymore. We're all pretty much got what we need. So now we're just doing it to be with each other on the weekends, but we're making as much money now as we were back then.
You mentioned getting into a lot of fights. How was Jim Cornette in a barroom brawl?
Jim Cornette does not drink. Jim Cornette never went to a bar. It was just me and Bobby. Jim Cornette does not drink at all. He really doesn't like it around him, to be honest with you. So Jimmy went to the motel room. He got his Domino's, large Domino pizza, and Jim Cornette was through for the night.
Oh, he sounds like an internized kind of guy.
He's quite a guy. You got to know this guy, man. I mean, I've known him for 25 years. Great guy. Like I say, I talk to him just about every day. Corny and I have always had a special relationship where I think the world of him, and I hope he does me. And it's just one of those relationships that you don't find but a couple of times in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever get into a really bad fight in any of the bars?
Yeah, we did. Dothan, Alabama. There were some guys coming in that they were power lifters. And there's a difference between weightlifters and power lifters. These guys lifted nothing but heavy, like, heavy squats, heavy, and they were staring at us, and they wasn't really doing anything, but they were staring at us. And so I felt uncomfortable, and I said, well, I better tell the manager of this bar, this establishment, that if something happens, we don't want to be to blame here, but we feel like something might happen after they shut down about 6 or 8 beers, something might go wrong here. And so I went up to him and I said, sir, I just want to warn you and let you know that there might be some trouble in here. We got a couple of muscleheads over here staring at us, and we're staring back. And, it got down to one time where there was about a 15, 20-second stare down. So that's when I went and got the manager. He said, Dennis, whatever happens, I said, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be us. It'll be them starting it. We're not going to start it, but we're not going back down. He said, okay, I got you. He said, I'll keep an eye on you. Sure enough, the guy come over there, and he was talking crap and everything, and was wanting an autograph, and we wouldn't sign an autograph because, like I say, back then we didn't sign them.
Right.
And so this guy, he got kind of smart, and he turned up a beer. Well, when he turned up his Budweiser, I hit the bottle when he got it in his mouth. I hit the bottle, which crammed it down in his neck, and he was spitting out teeth. It was like chiclet chewing gum. Teeth were going everywhere. So he was fixing to do something with that bottle as soon as he took that last drink, and I knew that. So when he turned it up, I went ahead and hit the butt of the bottle and knocked it right down in his mouth. So that was over pretty quick. That was over actually before it got started.
Yeah. You got another question from the message board, Enter?
Let's see. Which version of the Midnight Express did you prefer?
Probably the one he was.
Which one did I prefer?
Yeah.
It had to be me and Bobby. We have a chemistry, Bobby and I, where Bobby and I don't even have to, when we're in a match, we don't even have to speak. We don't have to holler at each other and tell each other what we're fixing to do. We can look at each other and we know what each other fixing to do, where with other partners, you have to holler and tell them, hey, do this, do this. Me and Bobby could just look at each other. We knew exactly what we're going to do.
What did you see the new Midnight Express they had in WWE?
I did.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
I don't blame anybody for trying to. Now you're talking about Bob Holly and
who
was that?
It was Bart Gunn.
Yeah. I don't have anything with anybody trying to make a living, and if that's what they needed to do.
Right.
And Jimmy called us up. Jimmy called Bobby up. Jimmy called me up, and he said they want me to do this deal. I really don't want to say no, to WWE. I said okay. And so he did okay that with us. And to me, that was sort of flattering that they would want to be like us or have our name. So I didn't have any problem with the guys at all.
Right. Yeah. You got to do what they got to do, like you said. Have they ever come to you with any plans of putting you guys in the Hall of Fame?
You know what? We've heard some stuff about it, but, we figure whenever they get ready to do it, that'll be up to them. We don't push stuff like that. In fact, a guy asked me today, Dennis, how do you get all these bookings? See, we're booked already into August, Bobby and myself, on the weekends.
Uh-huh.
And, it's just, and I just told him, I said, well, these guys call me up, and, they pay us these big bucks still to make these towns. When somebody wants to put us in the Hall of Fame, if they do, that's fine. And you know what? If they don't, that's fine too. in my home state of Alabama. I made the Hall of Fame, I think, like 3 or 4 months ago, so I feel like my accomplishment is over as far as my home state. I'm in the Hall of Fame there, so if they want to put us in another one, that's fine. And like I say, guys, we won't ask for it. If it comes, we would appreciate it.
When you're getting booked on like the indie shows and stuff, do a lot of the guys come up and ask you for advice from the younger guys?
What? We sign more autographs in the dressing room than we do outside. But they do, and we appreciate that. And Bobby and I both feel like that. We have something to give back. We want to give something back because the business was great to us. It was really just phenomenal to myself. And I own a horse ranch out in Colorado where I can make this right here my little play toy on the weekends. And, I go back and forth from Charlotte to Denver and take care of my horse ranch. And I have 2 cowboys working for me out there full time. So that pays the bills. This right here is just great fun for me now. And I get to be with Jimmy and Bobby again on the weekends. But yes, to answer your question, there are a lot of guys that really just, they just hang on to every word we say in the dressing room. And I really... and like the Ring of Honor, those guys up there are so respectful. It's hard for me to get over those guys, and I know I keep bringing them up, but that Ring of Honor in Philly, they've got something special there.
Mm-hmm. Is there any tag team there that you would like to work with in Ring of Honor?
Actually, there is, but, it's a deal where Jimmy is not, it would put Jimmy in a bad position, him being a commissioner. He wouldn't be able to manage us, and Bobby and I have always been pushed as a tag team with a manager.
Right.
But Jimmy gets away from there. Like this weekend, we're seeing Saturday and Sunday on the pay-per-view, and then I think he's got about 6 or 7 more shows coming up with us. But they've got some great tag teams there. They really do. Excuse me.
No problem. You have another question, Barbie? Is Barbie with us?
Barbie, you there?
Nope, I think we lost Barbie.
Another question by WWEJunkies.com. He wants to know what it was like working for Jim Crockett Promotions.
Jim Crockett was great to us, guys. This guy made us a lot of money. And I'm the type of guy that even if I don't like you, if you're making me a lot of money, I will become to like you. I'll learn how to. But with Jim Crockett, it wasn't too hard. Jim Crockett was hands-on. He would come to you and say, Dennis, if he felt like you were feeling down, or Dennis, do you need some days off, or are you beat up, or you nicked up a little bit, or, that's just the way he was. He was hands-on, and if he had a shirt on, and if you wanted that shirt, all you had to do was ask for it, he'd take it off and give it to you. And I appreciate a promoter like that. There's not many of those left. But Jim Crockett was one of those. I really like Jim Crockett myself, personally.
Did you ever think the day would come when WCW would close?
Oh, yeah, I knew it was. That's why I left. We was offered a big deal for Vince, Bobby, Jimmy, and myself, and we decided not to take that deal. And I told Jimmy and him, I said, guys, they outvoted me. It was, 2-1. Him and Bobby said no, and I said, yes, let's go. They offered us an unbelievable deal, so... And I told them, I said, guys, we've done everything we can do here. We beat all their tag teams. They don't have any tag teams here we haven't beat. We beat the Fantastic, the Road Warriors, the Rock and Roll Express. We done beat everybody. What are we going to do now? And it was a perfect timing for us, and they decided they didn't want to do it. And so that's when I took a hiatus and went to Denver and bought me a horse ranch, and, that was the story behind that.
Yeah. When you were in WCW there near the end, you guys did the original Midnight Express versus Midnight Express feud.
Right.
Did you think Paul Heyman was a good manager, Paulie Dangerously?
Yeah, I started Paul in the business. Paul and I got together for Vern Gagne in the AWA. And we was in the AWA for Vern Gagne. What it was, I was working the weekends for Vern Gagne from Denver. He was flying me over to Minneapolis. And I met with Paul one day and decided to make him a manager, just like I did Jimmy. And sure enough, he, I'm really turning out some of these managers. I don't know what to tell you, but you can tell when a guy's got, some managing ability,
right,
and everything. But he was paying me good money to come over and work Friday and Saturday night from Denver, and then I was back home on Sunday. Well, that left me the rest of the week with my ranch. And it was a lot of money, and I decided to do it. Well, Dusty Rhodes calls us up one day in Denver. Paul E. and Randy Rhodes was at my house in Denver. He said, I need to meet with you guys in Dallas. I said, okay, what's this about? He said, well, I'm going to do it midnight against midnight. I said, well, you said everything but the one thing I need to hear. He said, what is that, Dennis? I said, you haven't mentioned money. And so he threw this figure at me that almost choked me. And I said, okay, I'll do 8 weeks, because I didn't want to do it full-time again. I didn't want to do it, 7 days a week like we've been doing, because I was actually enjoying my ranch, riding, walking around, hunting and fishing in the Rocky Mountains. And so he threw this huge amount of money at us. I said, okay, we'll do it. So it was a 7-week program, and right after that, they closed down.
Yeah.
Or sold out, whatever they did.
Right. Did he ever contact you when he was running ECW about coming in?
He did. As a matter of fact, I think I was supposed to be on one of his shows, and it was a deal where I got snowed in Denver, and I think he got, who'd he get? He got Terry Funk to take my place, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's right. But I did get snowed in, and in Denver, when they get snow, they close the roads, the airports, and everything.
Yeah.
And but yes, he did. In fact, guys, just over the last 2 or 3 days, there is talk that we might do another Midnight Against Midnight with me and Bobby against Stan and Randy Rhodes with Paul E. That's the talk around town now, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah. Do you know where that would take place?
All over.
Oh, okay, cool.
All over. A lot of promoters are trying to jump on it, but we haven't signed any paperwork or anything yet, so we'll kind of keep that under our hats a little bit, but that's what everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah. Would you like to work behind the scenes in wrestling as like a trainer or a booker?
I really would. I would really enjoy that. I'm really into helping these younger guys because I've got a knack myself. I can tell an athlete I can tell an athlete by the way he walks. It's just something that you can tell. And I would really like to help some of these guys. I really would like to work behind the scenes, and actually, that's what I'm holding on to. There might be some stuff for me coming up. I hope it is. But right now, Bobby and I and Jim are just having a great time. We're just kicking back and taking the money they're throwing at us.
Well, you got to do that.
You got to do that, buddy.
You got another question? I think Barbie's back with us.
Okay.
You got a question, Barbie?
Yes, there's a question from the message board from... And hopefully this is not one that's been asked from Recruit's Mustache. He wants to...
We've got some interesting fans.
Who wants to know if you think Stan Lane did a good job of filling your shoes.
I do. What a lot of people don't understand about Stan Lane, Stan Lane and myself were teamed up before Bobby and I were. Stan and me were teamed up in Atlanta, Georgia in the early 80s. Stan, him and I made a pretty good team then. So a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, Stan and I were a team before Bobby and I was, and I think he did a good job. I do. And Corney said on all of his shoot interviews, he pretty much tells it like it is, as far as which team he liked the best. Especially if you buy the Ring of Honor shoot tape from last year, Corney tells exactly what team he likes the best, why, and all that stuff. So. If you want to buy that tape from Ring of Honor, he tells the whole story just the way he feels.
Yeah, those are always really good. I've seen some of those with you and Bobby Eaton, and I think there's one too. It's you and Bobby and the Fantastics. It's all four of you.
Right. And we got one of those coming out with the Rock and Roll where we're on the same set too. So there's a bidding war on that right now. So whoever bids the highest, that's the one we're going to do it for.
Cool. Before I let you go here, I just want to mention again, SouthernChampionshipWrestling.com, March Madness this Saturday at the Mulberry Recreational Center in Lenore, North Carolina. Anything you want to tell the fans out there why they should come and see it?
Yes, I do. It's going to be a great night in Lenore. Lenore has not been run this year yet by a real promotion. It's, you got your outlaw groups there that run it every once in a while, but these are names. You got Jerry Lawler there, Dusty Rhodes, Midnight Express against the Barbarian and the Warlord, the Power of Pains. You've got, I think, 8 major matches that night, and I understand tickets are going pretty quick. So, if anybody wants to come out, we'd appreciate it. You'll have a great night, I guarantee you.
Cool. Really appreciate you being on.
Absolutely.
It's been an honor to talk to you on the show.
Well, thank you very much. And I got another one here I got to do in Birmingham, Alabama at 9. So, guys, if I ever help you in any way, or if you need anything from me, just holler at me.
Hi, this is Cowboy Bill Watts. Be sure that you take full advantage of InYourHeadOnline.com. Fabulous site for wrestling memories, what's going on today, what's probably going to happen tomorrow. Tune it in and tell them Cowboy Bill Watts sent you.